Hey guys, this is Desmond with Downcountry Nation. Today I want to talk about how to get into mountain biking. So I know this is a little bit different than my normal videos talking about specifically downcountry bikes, but I've gotten a couple comments on people wanting to get into mountain biking and not exactly knowing how to, or trail etiquette, or certain things like that. And I really want to grow the mountain bike community and help bring more people to the sport that I love. So today I'm going to hopefully decode the mountain bike language. So I'm going to be splitting this video into different sections. First I'll probably talk about mountain bikes, then I'll talk about trails, and then I'll talk about trail signs, and then I'll talk about trail etiquette. So this video can really cover a broad area of questions that you guys weren't sure how to or what to ask about. So hopefully this video will help you. So the first thing that I'd like to jump into is mountain bikes. What mountain bike should I get? What's a good budget beginner mountain bike? Well, that's a very open-ended question. There's lots of mountain bikes on the market, lots of awesome ones, but it really depends on what kind of riding you want to do. Do you want to go enter a downhill race? Well, a cross-country hardtail probably isn't going to suit you. You want to do dirt jumping? Well, you can't take a dirt jumper really and go race an XC race. I mean, you could, but it's not going to be nearly as fun if you were on a bike designed specifically for that. So in this video, I'll be talking about 3 different bikes for the 3 main disciplines. We'll have like gravity, we'll have cross country, and then we'll have dirt jumping. Dirt jumping is a little bit different than what I'm used to. I don't do a lot of dirt jumping. I mostly ride mountain bikes, so I'm not a big dirt jumper, but I'm going to help you guys as much as I can and give you the information that I've learned over my years of riding. So the first cross-country bike I'd like to talk about is actually my bike. It's the Specialized Chisel. So I got this bike for $1,200. The awesome guys over at Benchmark Bikes in Greer, South Carolina took $150 off it for me, so thank you guys very much for that. So I got this for $1,200. It's actually still on sale for $1,350, but this bike has proven to be awesome. I think one of the main things why I like this bike so much is it actually has through axles. So most bikes for in the under $1,500 range typically have quick release, but this one actually came with through axles. And another thing I want to point out is the tapered head tube. That's another important thing to look at. If you don't have a tapered head tube, it's really going to limit your ability to change out forks without having to buy a different headset. But the only thing that I've changed out on this bike is the front suspension fork, and that is the one right up there on the wall. That was a RockShox Judy. It was okay, wasn't a big fan of it, didn't lock out all the way, but the SID definitely made this bike way more capable, especially with the 3mm thicker stanchions. These are 35 over 32 millimeters. But this bike is an awesome bike if you're just trying to get into cross-country racing. This one is actually 20 pounds, and before I think it was like 23 pounds with the old fork on it. So super lightweight bike. I've done a couple other smaller things that weren't that don't really matter, but I did change out the stem just to make the reach a little bit shorter, the grips, and the seat. And the tires, but that was about it. This bike is an awesome bike to start XC in. Also, if you're just a everyday trail rider, it's also an awesome bike. And if you put that bigger fork on the front of it, it makes it a downcountry bike. So it's a awesome all-around bike. I think if you guys are looking for a good XC bike, then go check out Specialized website and order this one because it is a great deal. So the next bike I'd like to talk about is the Trek Fuel EX Gen 5. So this bike has a little bit more travel. It's more for the trail gravity kind of guy. It has 140 millimeters of front travel and 130 in the rear. So just over the downcountry kind of mountain bike range, but still a awesome all-around trail bike. I do not own this bike, but I've heard great things about it. So if you're looking for a bike that doesn't break the bank, I know $2,500 is pretty expensive for a beginner bike, but if you think you guys are going to be in the sport for a while, this is a really good option. Also, for bikes, for NICA racers, you can actually get a 25% discount for some Trek models and some Specialized, Cannondale, and a couple other things. So that's something to keep in mind if you're a NICA racer or coach, you can definitely check that out, and that may save you some money. The last bike I'd like to talk about is the Revel Tweety. So you guys may not have heard of Revel bikes, but they are a custom bike company out of Carbondale, Colorado, and they make a pretty sick dirt jumper. This is the, as I already said, the Revel Tweety, and they sell them for $2,500. I know that's a pretty hefty price tag, but this bike comes decked out. You'll never have to upgrade anything on this bike. This bike definitely comes with everything you need to become a awesome dirt jumper. Their actual pro dirt jumper, Brady Tweety, rides this bike, so if he can ride it, you guys can ride it. This is an awesome option. I'm sure there are other awesome options out there, but I wanted to highlight this bike. Now that we're done talking about the basics of mountain bikes, we can move on to trail signs. There are lots of different variations of trail signs out there. I've seen ones that I've never even heard of, especially at bike parks. But I'm going to give you guys the basic rundown of what they mean so you're not throwing yourself in a double black diamond on your first day riding. So the first trail sign that I'd like to talk about is the green trail sign. This is the trail sign that most all mountain bikers have started off on. That is the one that I originally started off on. It's always a good idea to start off on the green trail. There are lots of different variations. There's like a green-blue, lots of different things like that you'll find at many different bike parks, but green means beginner, so if you see a green sign, it most likely means that's the trail for. The next trail sign that I'd like to talk about is the blue trail. That's kind of the intermediate trail for people who have ridden green. They typically have some more flowy kind of sections where you can go up and down if at a bike park. If at a normal state park or something like that, it's just going to be a little bit more technical, maybe a little bit harder of a climb at the end or in the trail, but I think once you've ridden a green trail a couple times, you should be pretty good to go up onto a blue trail as long as you feel confident in your bike handling skills. The next trail sign that I'd like to talk about is the Black Diamond Trail sign. This is the trail for the expert rider. I definitely get a bit more comfortable on your bike before going off this trail. I tried doing this last year and I almost got really hurt, so definitely get better at riding before you go on a Black Diamond Trail. That, I think, is when you start having the most fun, when you can ride a Black Diamond Trail and then move back to a blue trail, because typically blue trails are super fun, and Black Diamond is where you get to start pushing your skill level and seeing where you're at. The last trail sign that I like to talk about is the Double Black Diamond. That is the pro or seasoned expert trail sign. That typically has the biggest jumps, the biggest drops, most technical features, so definitely practice before jumping up to that trail. I can't tell you, some Double Black Diamond trails are less crazy as others. Like if you go up to Whistler, they're probably going to be pretty crazy, but maybe your local Double Black Diamond trails aren't going to be 30-foot gap jumps. So that's definitely something I'd look into. The last thing that I'd like to mention is you need to practice before you move up to a different trail. Pros get hurt on blue trails all the time, so it doesn't mean if you're in a green trail you're not going to get hurt. It means you need to practice before you move up to the next trail. I've been riding for about 3 years now, and then I did BMX racing before that, so I feel pretty confident in my riding ability. I always know the chances that I could get hurt with me riding, but I take those chances because I like riding, and I know that if I get hurt, I will heal, but always take the proper precautions before riding a hard trail. Now I want to talk about trail etiquette. Trail etiquette is one of the most important things while you're mountain biking. If you're not obeying the rules of the trail, you could get kicked off of those trails. So I want to help everyone understand what to do while you're mountain biking. So if you live in an area and you ride the trails that also horses and hikers ride, then mountain bikers yield to both horses and hikers. They don't yield to you, which means if you see a horse coming or you see a walker coming, you need to let them go before you, or you will slow down and pull off to the side if a horse is coming so you don't spook them. This is very important because lots of people have gotten hurt doing this, so I really hope that this will help you. The next thing that I'd like to mention is if you crash your mountain bike, it is smart to move your bike off the trail. I know if you're hurt, it doesn't feel good, but you still need to get it off the trail so you don't hurt other people coming down the trail or up the trail. So that's another important thing to do so you don't get other users mad at you. Another thing to pay attention is the direction of the trail. You should not ever be going up a downhill trail unless it is allowed. I've seen lots of trails at bike parks that say do not enter. This is very important because some of the corners have blind spots, so you're not going to be able to see the people coming around, which could result in a very bad crash for both of you guys. Another thing that I'd like to mention is not tearing up the trails. I know there's a lot of kind of debate over if this is a valid kind of rule. I think it is in some applications. I know that if you're going around corners, skidding as hard as you can, squeezing your brake at every single corner, and you're blowing out turns, it can be annoying for the people who built those trails. Then again, I'm not going to say if you're going down a technical section and you're tapping your back brake a little bit, that's not, I don't think, in my opinion, that's a problem. But definitely don't be skidding over jumps and stuff like that, because it just deteriorates the jump faster and really makes more work for your local trail crew. The last thing I'd like to mention is go and help out with your local trail crew. If you have a local nonprofit or club that builds your local trails, I know this isn't really a etiquette kind of thing, but it's definitely good to go out and help build the trails that you enjoy and ride. There, for most trails, is a local group that kind of controls and rebuilds and fixes the trails that you guys enjoy every day. So it's definitely important to go out and help with those people. I'm part of a mountain bike club called Samba in Spartanburg, and they go around and fix all of my local trails that I enjoy every day. So I like to go and do their group rides, and if I can get a chance, I like to go out and go help fix the trails. The next thing I want to talk about is mountain bike trails. I know I talked about trail signage, but this is a little bit different. There are many different types of trails out there. There are downhill trails, there are cross-country trails, there are enduro trails, and there are bike park, pump track kind of trails. So in my area specifically, I have a lot of cross-country trails with little technical bits thrown in. So that is the kind of riding I do the most, and that is why I focus on downcountry specifically, because that is the kind of bike that calls for the trails that I ride every day. I also have a bike park in the downtown area in Spartanburg, South Carolina. A nonprofit organization built that, and Samba maintains it. So it's an awesome little section. It's an awesome hub in this area to be able to ride mountain bikes. Then there's downhill enduro trails. There's not many of those in this area. You kind of have to drive like an hour and a half out of this area to get up to the mountains in North Carolina, so I don't really have any bikes geared towards that. I hope to ride some of that in the future, but if you guys live in Squamish, British Columbia, or British Columbia in general, or Colorado, or places like that, there are plenty of, or California, there's plenty of downhill enduro trails out there, so that is a good time to buy a bike specifically for those kind of trails. I would not ride my Specialized Chisel at a downhill trail just because I'd probably crash because it is a hardtail, doesn't have a lot of suspension travel. I'd probably break the front fork. So that's another thing when you're looking at mountain bikes, to learn about suspension travel. There's lots of awesome videos on YouTube, GMBN, a bunch of other things on YouTube that can educate you and help you pick a good bike for the trails that you ride every day. I really hope this video helped kind of decode the mountain bike language and help you guys get into my favorite sport and help you be able to do what you want to try doing. There's lots of awesome bikes on the market. If you have awesome trails in your area, then get a mountain bike and go try riding. Another thing you could do is go to your local mountain bike shop. They have a wealth of knowledge, and they also have mountain bikes there. And you going to that shop will support it and help grow the mountain bike community in your area. So there is a quick intro to mountain biking for all of the beginners who needed help. I hope this helped you guys. Thanks for watching. See you next time.